Clifton Brown.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Alejandra. Nice to meet you
Nice
formally.
to meet you formally.
Community manager of Ulti Home, and I'm in charge of bringing great content to the Ulti Home site. And part of what I do is awesome all-around interviews. So you're our guest today. You're an Ulti peep who is awesome, not just at work, but also outside of work.
I think so.
You think so?
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. That's why we're here today. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, from the accent, you can tell I'm not from here. I'm originally from Jamaica. I moved to the U.S. when I was like 12 years old.
Okay.
I love music. I love to dance. I love Latin music.
Oh, nice.
And I love art, generally speaking. So, I'm here at Ultimate because I love software.
Okay.
So it's kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum, because people ask me, how do you you're into art and poetry and you also write programs, and it's I don't know how it happened, but it happened.
Well, they're both languages, right?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
So you like all kinds of art. So do you also paint, or?
No, but I've been thinking about it.
Okay.
I've never painted, but I've thought about getting some materials and just starting, because I feel like maybe I can.
Yeah.
So I don't want to limit myself just to writing poetry and stuff like that. So
Right.
I'm definitely interested in painting.
Tell me a little bit more about what you do here at Ultimate. So you're a programmer. You work out of Phase 10, but what do you do specifically?
So I'm on the trade team, and we are sort of like third level support, where if issues come in with the with support and they can't resolve, it comes to us, and we can fix data. Sometimes we can fix code or discover bugs in the system, and we send it to the teams for them to resolve them. So we're kind of like the catch-all before it goes back to development.
Okay.
And we save, we do a lot of things as far as resolving issues before it goes to development, so we can save them time just to focus on new development as opposed to fixing recurrent issues. So
that makes sense to have a separate team deal with those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so
we
that they
are
can
awesome.
stay focused. You guys are awesome.
We are awesome.
So what's your team like? How many people are in your direct team?
I'm going to be ashamed to not know this number, but I think we're about more or less 30 people.
Oh, okay.
We have some remoters. We have some in Atlanta. But it's about 30 people. Don't hate me, guys, if I got the number wrong.
Okay. And how long have you been at Ultimate?
Next month on the 16th, I'll be here for 3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
I will be here for maybe 2.5, but getting close to 3 years.
Yeah.
So how have you liked it so far working here?
I love Ultimate. And when I was applying to Ultimate, and I went on the website and I watched the videos of employees, and I was like, this is a cult. Seriously.
Like CrossFit.
It was crazy. I was like, no one can love a company, because I worked for 2 other companies in my professional career, and I'd never seen anywhere where employees love the company so much.
Right.
But as I came on, and initially during new hire, when I listened to Viv speak and listened to Scott speak, and I was just like, wow, so I told my manager, I said, you guys got to kick me out because I'm never leaving. But I love Ultimate. I love the culture. I love the people. I love the fact that we're so employee-centric, which is something that you don't see, in most companies. You don't see it. So I love it here.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that they do is, the culture obviously is amazing. And then the trust that they give you.
Yes.
They don't encourage a lot of micromanaging or a lot of like, let me stay up on you and see what you're doing and what you're working on. And they kind of trust you to handle the tasks that you need to take care of. And when someone gives you trust like that, it just makes you want to really show them how well you can do something. I mean, that's my favorite thing.
And it's important because, not working under pressure. And I think they give you the room to really bloom, as opposed to saying you have to do it this way, this way, this way. And it promotes creativity within the company, which is very important, I think. So it's an awesome company.
Great. I'm glad that you're here, and hope to keep you here for a lot longer.
I'll be here for a long time.
So tell me, when did you start writing poetry?
I started, I'll say this, I started writing in 2007. I was maybe 28 years old. And I said writing and not writing poetry because the first thing I wrote was actually in the book. But I just had thoughts in my head and I wrote it on MySpace. So I'm dating myself.
Oh, wow.
And someone sent me a message saying that her sister read it and it made her cry. And I was completely taken, like, what are you talking about? So then I left MySpace, I went to Facebook. I posted it on Facebook and people were commenting like, who wrote this? And, you know, my friends, my family, no one knew that I wrote. I didn't know that I write, you know, so it started there in 2007.
2007, right? So it wasn't something that you did like early on in your life or in school. You picked it up later.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And knowing that you caused that sort of emotion made you feel what? Like,
at first I was like, you're crazy. It was just like, no, you know. But after a while, I remember this girl for that same poem. This girl she met when I was on Facebook. She sent me an email saying, she said, whoever that girl is, you need to go find her and tell her how much you love her. And I was like, okay, you know. But so just seeing people, how they reacted to it, and I started writing more and more. And the comments that would come in, it just started making me feel like, okay, maybe there's something here. And so it took me maybe at least some months, maybe 6 months to a year before I started recognizing it. And I would say labeling it as poetry. For me, it was just, I'm just writing stuff.
So it was more free verse stuff that you were just putting together, like what came to you, you were putting it on paper.
Exactly.
And then it turned into more poetry. So did you study poetry a little bit more?
No.
Stanzas, verses, how to structure?
No.
No?
No. And when I started taking it seriously, I told myself that I wanted to be authentic. I didn't want to imitate anyone else. I felt like my voice was important enough and strong enough just based on what people were saying. So I purposely didn't study other people's poetry and stuff like that. And what I found is because I really write, I don't sit to just write. I don't like think of a subject and try to write about it. I write based on what I feel, what comes to me. And what I found is that people, they are able to relate to it. And you connect on a spiritual level. And for me, I found that makes the difference in the writing. And so, and maybe it's crazy, right? But in my head, it's just kind of like, just be true to the voice that's inside of you, because I don't think my voice is unique. And I think that when I write from that deep inner self, that's why people can relate to it so much. And it's just something beautiful and something powerful comes out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Often you can't express emotions with words, but I think poetry is the exception.
Yes,
poetry
absolutely.
Will put the words in such a way that you can actually provoke feelings, emotions, like you said with this girl who read your first poem. So yeah, definitely a lot of power there. A lot of power to people read your poetry and then they feel like, wow, this is what I'm feeling, or this is what I totally understand it. And it's like you've taken their emotions and put it into art. And it's very beautiful. So like I said, I have a very deep appreciation for poetry and for poets. So very glad to be speaking with you today. So what made you turn it from a hobby into a book? Because this is the book. And if we can take a closer look at it so everybody knows the title and what it looks like. Loud Whispers of Silent Soul. So what turned it from a hobby to like, okay, now I'm going to move forward with this and I'm going to create a book and I'm going to get it published?
That I have to give credit to Facebook again. For maybe, I would say about 3 years, me writing on Facebook, and people kept telling me, you need to publish and stop wasting your talent on Facebook. But I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe what I had to write was so good for people to spend money for it. And several, well, see, maybe in 2013 or what around about there, I was building a website, sort of like an Instagram for videos.
Okay.
And I was building the site, and I ran into some issues with the site, and it took me about 4 days trying to like convert from Microsoft to open source technologies. And I just kind of got frustrated one day, and I got it from the computer in my house, and I said, they want a book, I'll give them a book.
Okay.
And from there, that's how it started. But it was about 3 years of them telling me, publish. And then finally, so the book has a bunch of quotes, like some of my original quotes. And one of them that I love, it says, sometimes you have to choose to believe in the people that believe in you until you learn to believe in yourself. So that's what I did. I was just, okay, they want a book, I'll give them a book. And then through the process of writing and then seeing how it started to evolve, I became a believer in the poetry and the book. So that's how it came about.
Very nice. So it was definitely very important for you to have that support from family and friends.
Definitely.
And fans, I'm sure, were following your Facebook page at that point that maybe didn't know you in person, but wanted to continue seeing your work.
Because at that point, I started a blog first, and I would post on the blog and then share on Facebook. So I had a following already, and there was people that I didn't even know, and they would be like, I'm waiting for the book. And there were times when I wouldn't touch the book, the manuscript, for weeks or months. And then someone would say, when is the book coming? I'm waiting for the book. And so that would always motivate me. So I always speak about those people because it's so important, because this would never have been without them believing in me. So
very nice.
Awesome.
That's good that you found some support to help you. So how did you, once you decided to write the book, how did you find the balance in your life to be able to fit something in, like writing a book with, everybody has a day job, and I'm sure you have other things that you like to do outside of writing. So how did you fit it all in?
It kind of just works. I'm not married. I don't have kids.
Okay.
So I have a lot of free time. And because I don't set aside time to write. Like some people say you should write every day if you're a writer. But for me, I write when the poetry comes. So I usually say, I'm an interpreter of the poetry, So sometimes I could be in my car at lunch, because I eat my lunch in the car sometimes, and the poetry will just come and I write it. Sometimes it could be late at night. It could be when I wake up in the morning and it just comes and I write it. Sometimes I'm listening to, because I love music, and I'll be listening to music and I will hear maybe a line in the song and the poetry just starts to come and I write it. So there's no like set schedule of saying I'm going to write today, I'm going to work here or there. It just kind of comes in. So that's why sometimes it takes a while, but it helps make it more authentic too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that way you avoid writer's block, because you're only picking up the pen when a good idea hits you. I once attended a conference, and this guy who's he wrote some plays, but he's a writer in general, and he said that to him it's kind of like channeling that like genius that's somewhere out there.
Yes.
And so, whenever it strikes him, he just like lets it come out through the writing, but it's not constantly there. It's something that he has to be like listening for it, attentive to it, and then when it comes, then he takes advantage of that. And sometimes he said it's like when he's done writing, he's like what was that? What just happened?
Yes.
Do you feel a little bit like that?
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
Because usually when I write, I don't start with a subject. I just write, and when I'm done, I'm like, okay, what am I going to call this piece? There was one piece in the book called Grace, and it happened here at Ultimate. I was in phase 9, and I'm sitting there working on the computer, and I just heard Grace, like in my spirit, and I was like, I know I'm supposed to write something about it, but I didn't start writing. And I think 2 or 3 days later, I was at home Saturday morning. I woke up and the words started to come, and I just grabbed my phone and I started typing it on the phone, and then I transferred it to the book. So I totally can relate to what he was saying. I remember I went to a poetry event several years back before I started taking it too seriously, And I read this poem, and the audience was like, "Oh my God!" and everybody loved it, and it went straight to my head. And so I went home and I was like, "Okay, I gotta write stuff now to like recreate that reaction." And I think maybe like 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks, I couldn't write anything. The block, because I was trying to force it. And when I got back to myself, and I was like, "This is not how I write. I write from what comes to me," and then the gates just opened from there.
So you found what works for you, and you're
works,
sticking to it.
And I'm sticking to it.
So how does it feel when you finally write a poem and you're done, and then you set it aside and you're like, okay, how do you feel?
Like a relief, because when the poem is seriously trying to get out of you, and that's why I look at it. It's trying to come out of me, and once you get it out, and you kind of know, because like sometimes I write and I will read it, and I'm realizing like the picture in my head, the stuff I'm feeling is not in the paper, not the detail. And so I kind of revisit myself, and once I get it out and it's ready, I'm like, okay, it's ready. And every single time, it's always something relatable, always something powerful. So it's a relief, really is a relief.
Relief and happiness, maybe.
Of course. And if I'm drinking some wine, it's heaven.
So you're single. Have you ever used poetry? Are you guilty of using poetry to pick up girls?
No, not purposely. Not purposely, but because I'm on social media and I post stuff on social media, so girls will read the stuff and they'll relate, and they'll flirt, and I'll flirt back and stuff like that. But I don't purposely use it. I think that would be misusing the gift, because some of the stuff that I write, like I had this one girl, she got the book and she messaged me and she said your words made me feel beautiful again, And there was one more person, another female, she messaged me and she said that, because she was going through a situation in a breakup, and she messaged me one night and she said, your words are giving me life tonight. So I understand the power that it has, and so for me to play into that power to like manipulate women, it's not something that I care to do or want to do.
That's very nice of you. Actually, if you say that, you might pick up even more. Okay, Clifton. So, you already told me a little bit about your process for writing. It comes to you. You don't really have a specific time. You don't necessarily write every day.
Right.
You wait for that to come to you. Now, the book, though, it has some special meaning behind it, because from what I understand, you're dedicating this book to someone special, right?
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, the book is dedicated to my mom. My mom is, I call her the darling of my time. She passed away in 2014 from breast cancer. And when she passed away, we was going through some of her things, and we found a note that she wrote. And in the note, she said that she wished she had done something great for her children to be proud of her. And when I read that, it was like being hit by a 10-ton truck and being driven into a brick wall, because she was that mother that sacrificed everything for her children. Me and her, we were very, very close, very, very loving, and very, very supportive. So I kind of told myself that if the world knows who I am, they will know who she is. And so I made it my mission really to not only dedicate the book to her, but there's an entire section of poems that are dedicated to her and just the experience I went through of seeing her go fighting breast cancer, and just that whole experience. Talking about that always kind of get me choked up a little bit, because but she was an amazing human being. And so what I do now, every year in the month of October, 50% of all net sales I donate to cancer research in her honor. So
very nice. That's a great way to help the cause and to honor your mom, for sure. And absolutely. I'm sure that you completely disagree with what she said in the note, right?
Completely. She definitely is an amazing human being. Definitely.
It's not always about, being successful in the sense that like a huge job or a huge house,
right.
or we see success as
right.
related to
right.
material things often.
Right.
Well, are you successful because you started a business? Are you successful because, and really, we don't take time to appreciate that people can be very successful and very impactful in other people's lives and bring so much more value.
Absolutely.
Than just owning a big house,
Absolutely.
right? And that's
Absolutely.
more important than anything.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be who I am today without her. Not a question about that. So I would carry her into the world.
Yeah, through poetry.
Through poetry.
So if you have any good other organizations that you donate to or that you work with, let me know, and I'll make sure to include them in the article so that people know where they can go to donate to help fight breast cancer.
Will do.
Okay.
Definitely.
And then you can send me the link to your book too,
so
people know where to buy it. You mentioned that in your book there's no profanity. And I remember that stuck out to me a little bit
right.
in the first email that we were having. So why no profanity?
I think where I was trying to go with this book here, sort of like words of healing type of thing. And I think you can say things that, because there's some poems in here that are kind of like sensual poetry, right? But I don't think you need to get to the point of using profanity to get your point across. I think there's an abundance of other words that you can use and expressing those emotions and not having to go there. And also, I think what I always tell myself is that I envision 100 years from now a mother taking this book and giving it to her teenage daughter and saying, maybe this book helped me, maybe it could help you. And because I wanted to appeal to anyone really, teenagers, older adults. So I didn't want anything like that in the book. I have nieces and nephews and they want to read the book, and so I can't have them reading,
right.
stuff like that in the book. So that was basically the main reason why I kept it out of it.
Okay. What did your nieces and nephews think about the sensual poems?
I haven't spoken to them about it. I haven't spoken to them about it. I kind of feel weird when they said they want to read the book. I was just like, stay in the front, stay there for the love stuff.
Wait, so in which part of the book is the sensual stuff? So
it's
that I know
the last section.
The last section. Okay.
No, I'm lying. It's I think the third section.
All right. So now, if you don't mind, I'll ask you to share a little bit, if you're comfortable with it.
Absolutely.
I would like for you to maybe read one of your favorite poems from the book.
Okay.
Is that cool?
That's cool.
All right.
I'll do it from memory.
You know it by heart?
Yes.
Okay.
I prefer it from heart. In the camera. All right, so I'm gonna do a piece. It's one of my favorite pieces. I think it's a favorite of pretty much most people that has read the book. It's the first poem in the book, so if you guys get the book, just open to page 1. And it's called Conversation. I think I'll take my glasses off for this. Okay. She said, write me a poem. I said, you are my poem, already written, fused with every thought that traverses my mind. She said, read it to me. I said, I do that every time I touch you. I said, this pen bled my thoughts, and every word was your name. She smiled. I said, I opened my lips. I kissed your lips. I taste your soul. Now I crave you like never before. I traced the contour of her face with my fingers. She said, why do you do that? I said, I love painting your portrait inside my soul. I said, 1,000 places I have journeyed, but I am home only when I'm with you. I said, when I look into your eyes, I can't remember my lines. I try and try to remember past times, but I can't see past you. She said, tell me more. I said, your eyes are the doorway to my peace. I said, your mouth is an instrument serenading my soul, playing for me the sweetest melodies, enchanting me as your lips move with the spirit of the spoken word. I said, I lose myself with every beautiful word that breaks your lips. I said, when you caress my face, you take all my strength, but I'm okay with that. I said, I'm staying. She said, where? I said, with you. I'm staying. She said, why? I said, because outside of you lies only death, and I so badly want to live. She breathed in deeply. She said, when did you write this poem? I said, the day you were born. Her eyes grew soft and her smile faded into the penumbra. She looked deep into my eyes and said, I do not understand. I said, the day your soul was created, a void inside me was instantly filled. I said, till now I have waited all of my life seeking you, waiting to see you, wanting to touch you, needing to hold you. And now here you are in my arms, my beautiful poem. Her eyes flooded, and I kissed them. Her smile resurfaced, and I smiled back. She said, I really love this poem. I said, I have always loved you. Thank you.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining us for Awesome All Around.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure meeting you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Ulti Peeps, you can pick up Loud Whispers of Silent Souls on Amazon.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I saw it on Walmart, eBay, it's everywhere online.
All right. And if you see Clifton in the hallways, now you know he's an amazing poet too.
Say hi.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.